So, what do you think of, in the economic sense, what do you think of the growth of population? How do you feel about the India's growth of population? Now, I remember when I was a young boy, many decades ago, they were concerned about the population problem of India, that India won't be able to feed itself, and there were all these attempts to have birth control, population control, and then they were relaxed. Now the population is 2.5 times what it was at that moment. We are able to feed ourselves thanks to the green revolution and things of that sort. However, do you think it can continue indefinitely? Is population growth a liability that we are avoiding? We don't want to deal with it. We say that there is a youth dividend, but if there are 20 million youth entering the job market, but there aren't 20 million new jobs being created, then there's also a misery being added. And so are we just delaying this problem because it's politically very difficult to deal with it? Do you feel that that's an issue that we haven't addressed?
I think to an extent what you're saying is absolutely right. The population dividend or demographic dividend, as popularly known, applies to when that manpower is skilled and capable of taking up highly skilled jobs or difficult jobs. But that's not the case in India. So I think we should not fool ourselves that we are enjoying a demographic dividend. Yes, good thing is that the reforms that we have seen in the recent times, they are very difficult decisions because in the immediate term, they all lead to deceleration of growth as has been happening. And so it's a hugely politically risky thing to do. But you need well-determined people to do that, and that has been done. I think there is this talk of doubling farmer income. So I think if we can double farmer income, that would happen only by improving agricultural practices, soil testing and irrigation and better use of water and seed and so on. The potential to grow our agricultural output at compounding at 4%, 5%, 6% is eminently possible. But we will need multi-concerted, a very concerted effort to get that done. So we need a green revolution, number two. We need more skilling. I think population control of the kind that we saw in the 70s will never happen again. Fortunately, urban population, in terms of stationary population, because there's a lot of immigration into or influx into the cities, so cities are growing. But the city population itself is not, procreating as many children as before. So I think we are not bad at this point of time if we can continue the economic reforms. Most important reform that is yet to happen in a major way is what we call ease of doing business. So some of the GST stuff and technology, etc., creates ease of doing business, but removing the discretionary power in the powers that be or the administration that be is vital. So unless India, improves its ranking by 50, 60 points on the global index, we will not do very well. I think once we, add meaning to the economic freedom that we have, of certain measure now, it has to become very, very meaningful. Even if we will not be our population will not be very educated, but because of the long mercantile history, long social morose history that we have, our people will be able to do extremely well. I have just no doubt if China has been able to unleash that sense of enterprise, even at lower level, there's a large public corporates. I think at the individual level, Indians will do even better than Chinese. So I think not maybe in the next 5-10 years, but over the next 20 years, India could surprise the world both with its soft power and material power. But we need continued reforms and we need economic freedoms of a much greater order.